Labor shortage. Are you struggling with too much workload and too less workers? If yes, then this video is just for you. There are 7+1 issues that you must not forget. And I want to make a contribution to the current situation. Hi, my name is Christian Wurzelball. I support the textile service industry with management training, Neuen Textile Service 4.0 and practical hints that you can implement right away. So there are 7+1 issues, and it's a little bit longer video. There are timestamps and I make chapters. So down in the description of the video there are the various chapters. So sorry, it will be a little bit longer. So hold on. I think that every one of these points is important. If you are an operator, if you're an executive, then it's an important video for you. It's for the laundry industry, but if you're not from the laundry industry, it might be the same. So it's I think it applies for every business that has an overload right now. And if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, let's start. The first thing is check the big picture. And there is a quote from the Dalai Lama. When I'm confronted with problems, I try to see the big picture. I think that's a good advice to try to get the big picture in the first place, because that's actually the task of management, and it's really hard sometimes because as in the case of a laundry, you need to deliver each and every day. Your customers do not wait. If you do not deliver to the hotel, to the hospital, whatever, then you are in big shit. And yeah, so it's hard. But on the other hand, you need also to get the big picture. And therefore, I want to encourage you to take 1 hour, half an hour, if you are trained, and check all the important points in your business, which are the market position, how are your customers, how do you serve the right customers, are they satisfied, are they on board, how is the market position developing, how are the contracts with your current customers, are there any dangers, whatever. So how is the market position? Is it green? Is it yellow? Is it red? So just evaluate it. It's not scientific. You do not need much time. You know it. Yeah. So you know whether it's green, whether it's yellow, whether it's red. The same applies with innovation. Innovation means whether you have the right products for the market. Whether your services are current, or whether you are in danger that someone just sneaks past you. So that's the story of Nokia. That's the story of blockbusters, whatever. So if there is a change in technology, then it's always dangerous for all those in the market that do not use this technology. And the question is whether this is the case for you. And if this is the case, then you need to evaluate it with yellow or with red. If your current technology for your customers. So I'm not talking about innovation in your operations. So it's not so much, this point is not so much about whether you have the right machines in the production or the right IT software. It's more whether your service that you provide to your customer is current. And if this is current, then give it a check. But if you have a competitor that starts to offer something really new to the customers, and it's a very interesting technology, then you really need to care about this, even in this situation right now. Then HR, of course, this video is about HR. It's about too less workers for too much labor. So HR is, of course, one of the main issues right now in the industry, actually worldwide. So it's everywhere. It's in Europe, in the States, everywhere. I don't know so much about Asia, but I could assume that's even there. So that's, of course, one of the main issues that the volume is coming back after COVID-19, and at the same time you do not have the labor force. So that's a big one. Then productivity, and of course productivity influences also the HR, because the more productive you are, the less workers you need. So that's important. But on the other hand, HR is also impacting productivity, because when you have the right people who are trained and who know what to do, then your productivity increases big time. Next is, of course, earnings and the bottom line. So how is the cash flow? How are the earnings? How are you doing each month? Of course, here inflation is a big impact, different topic, but a big one. And last but not least, liquidity, so that you can pay your bills. So do not make a science out of this. It should not take more than an hour, but evaluate each of these 6 viable parameters, whether you have an issue there. And so that you do not run the risk that you just focus on HR and just focus on the operations of next week, and you forget, I don't know, that the bank loan is due in 2 months, and you have not made or that a big customer is pissed off or whatever. So you need to have all 6 viable parameters in at least yellow. So none of these should be red. And if possible, they should be green. Yeah, the next thing is make strategic decisions. So maybe it's time also to make some strategic decisions right now. For instance, which customers to serve, which regions to serve, which price to charge, which services to provide, how is the item list, and so on. So there are strategic decisions that are maybe even easier to implement right now, because you can say to your customers, okay, we can service you. You see that we have an issue with our employees, but we need to streamline 1, 2, 3. So be ready by by the 1st of next month. We will change 1, 2, and 3, and I hope that you are accepted. If not, then please understand that's important, and we need to provide a good service. And in order to provide a good service, we need also to adapt. So it's a good time because customers are understanding, and if you make strategic decisions to get rid of some customers that do not suit your strategy in the long run, get rid of some services, focus on other issues, I think it's important. And maybe to have half a day and reflect on whether you discontinue something, it's and discontinuing something is even more important sometimes than starting something new. So you need to get freedom. You need to get to simplify things, and if you can simplify your business, your plant, it's a good chance right now. But do it in a nice way. There's always you will most probably meet this decision maker a second time. So do it in a nice way. But make strategic decisions if it's important. Yeah. The next thing is Mind the Eisenhower. There is a saying from Confucius. If you're in a hurry, go slowly. That's an interesting one. So take this quote and put it onto the wall. I think it's important right now. There is the Eisenhower. I think I do not need to explain it too much. I think it's very commonplace. So on the one hand, it's about what is important and what is not important. And then the question is what is urgent and what is not urgent. Yeah. And of course, we have right now the issue that everything is important and urgent. So we have too less employees, we have too much work, and every day is a strain. So this is actually how to deliver tomorrow. That's on the one hand important, and it's also urgent. So this is actually where we are right now. And it's like when you have a cliff and you have the sea. So you have the cliff and so the stones, and then you have a person here standing right at the water, and then you have a hurricane pushing all the water onto the cliff, and you're standing here and you're just struggling to survive. So that's basically the picture that many operators right now in. So that's and I can feel it. It's hard. It's not easy. It's tough. It's wet. It's salty. It's a mess. Yeah, and then of course you have the Q2, so the second quadrant, second quarter. So Q2 is actually not urgent but important, and you can assume that the current situation will not resolve tomorrow. So the season might go until August, until September, and in some cases there is no end in sight. So there will also be no quick solution to the labor market. Of course, it will change, and I think it will improve, but it will take some time, and you need also to take care of tomorrow, because otherwise you are completely in jeopardy for the next few months and even next year and so on. So there is a future. and even if you are right now in this situation, you need to squeeze 10%, 20% out of your time in order to invest into Q2. And actually this video is about Q2 mainly. And also take care about your key employees. So your most important employees, they should also invest 10, 20, maybe even 30% of their efforts into something that is not necessary to be done this week. So Q1 is basically tomorrow and this week, and Q2 is next few months. And maybe even next year. So to invest in Q2 is really important, and I have some ideas about it, and this will also be the content of this video. So Stay tuned. And then, of course, you have not important and not urgent. So these are all the shiny objects, for instance, that all of a sudden you have the idea to inform yourself about a new software, or you have the idea about some other new technology or whatever, which is actually not important right now because it doesn't help you. And it is not urgent because if you do it next year, it's the same. So this is actually a big one. So much time is lost here in Q4, and you should really try to, for yourself and also for your people, that they do not invest any time, or at least almost no time in Q4. So I think that's really important. And the same issue is then not important and urgent. And that's really depends on the person. So for instance, if you are a plant manager, if you are even a team leader, then it's more important that you manage. So here, for instance, that you train and your employee, then, or that you organize. That's really important. But if you start to work on the shop floor, then you are in deep trouble. So maybe to help at the shop floor 2 hours, 3 hours a week is nice. It shows appreciation to the people, that you also appreciate the labor. But if you work as a plant manager, for instance, if you work more than 2 hours, 3 hours a week, then something is wrong. So it's important, not just for you, but also for the team leaders and supervisors, that they do their job, and not just be the 5th or the 7th or the 8th worker in the department. Yeah, so I think that's important. Eisenhower, I can recommend it to revisit Eisenhower. The next one, focus on the bottleneck. That's actually a big one. And it's really, really neglected. Goldratt, I can recommend him big time, said every situation, no matter how complex it initially looks, is exceedingly simple. So Goldratt, he wrote the book, The Goal. I can recommend it. So get the audiobook, buy the hard copy. If you have not read this book, read it, listen to it. It's easy to read, actually. It isn't easy to listen to. It's because it's a story. So it's no hard read, but it gives quite some insights. And it's all about the bottleneck. When you look at a process, and when we look at the laundry, for instance, then in the laundry you have the washing department. So let's say we have here the washers, whatever type of washers it is. It could be a CPW, it could be washer extractors, whatever. So you have the washing department, and then you have ironers, you have towel folders, and whatever. Yeah. So you might have a tunnel finisher, and so that's the washers, ironer. Yeah, and let's say, for instance, that the ironer is the bottleneck. It very often is. So you have here the issue that the capacity is too low for some reason. And it's not so easy to increase capacity right away. So this limits actually the throughput of the whole plant. So what very often occurs then is that you have an backlog before the bottleneck, in this case the ironers. So you have cages, whatever, mounting up before the bottleneck, big time. Yeah. Because the head of the department of the washing department of the soil side, he is really keen on washing. So he presses all the linen, all the garments, whatever, onto the clean side, and then you have the backlog before the bottleneck, and this can lead actually that in this case you might have then your employees, your workers before the ironer in this case, and they might have even a worse situation than in a normal time. So the bins might be overloaded, there might be chaos, there might be just too much, so that the throughput actually through this ironer is not 100%, but it's maybe just 85%. So at the end of the day, you make the work for these people here worse than at normal times. And what you actually should do is try to get not just 100%, but 110%. So you should try to optimize this department here, to optimize the workflow, to optimize the training of the employees here, to optimize everything here. And there's always the possibility to increase, say for instance, the throughput by 10%. So if you try to improve the bottleneck, then you might increase it by 5%, 10%, 20% than in normal times, and not just end up with less throughput than normal. So this is really, really important. So I would encourage you big time, focus on the bottleneck. So the bottleneck the bottleneck is actually where you win and lose the game, and everything else is needs to be subordinated to the bottleneck. And you need also to identify this bottleneck, because for some reason, for instance, the head of the of the soil side, he is a very charismatic and strong guy, and he pulls all the attention onto himself, and he is the big one, and all of a sudden the technicians and the management is not so focused on the most important thing, the bottleneck, but on second-rated issues. Yeah, read the book. It's worth it. Next one. Keep your employees on board. So for instance, if you have 100 employees, you should have 100 employees. You're missing 10, you're missing 20. So let's say you're missing 10 employees. So you should have 100, you have just 90. And so you should not lose another 10. And it's important that you keep your employees on board, because when you keep your employees on board and that when they like to work in the plant, then they will encourage others to come and to join the team. If they are desperate, then they are just looking for other opportunities, and there are a lot around. And if somebody wants to join your plant, then they will say, be careful. And this will really frustrate your efforts to get new employees. So your current employees are really, really important. I will make a video about employee issues. So what I want to mention here in this case is, on the one hand, communication. It's really important that you communicate the current situation, what is going on this week, what is going on next week, what is the plan for the next 1 or 2 months. Do not underestimate that your employees are thinking about their work. They want to have a meaningful workplace. They want to have satisfied customers. So when you come back from a meeting at a customer, a sales call, whatever, and you have had a good conversation, then tell it everyone, please. Do not keep it to yourself. Your employees need also encouragement, not just you. And the next thing is, if they have something on their heart, if they have a problem, if it's that the machinery is not working properly, if they do not have enough linen, if they have too much linen, whatever, if they have problems, then you need to listen to them and try to solve these problems. That's also very important. And last but not least, give them some goodies. So if it's ice cream, it's an ice cream. It doesn't need to be very expensive. I think it's just about also appreciation, and that you take them serious. So keep your employees on board. You might not be able to keep all employees at the end of the day, but if you just lose 3 or 5, it's better than losing 10 or 15. Yeah, so that's a big one. And the next one is quality and customer satisfaction. So you might be right now in a seller's market. So right now the customers might not have too much choice. So there might be there might not be so much overcapacity in the market, so that the customer can shop around and just switch suppliers, as it is in many cases. And just be aware that this situation will change. So I would assume that by this fall, by next year, we'll have a buyer's market again, in many cases. So a seller's market changes always back to a buyer's market. And say, for instance, next year, you will have the situation that the customer can shop around and he'll get quotations from 2 or 3 or 5 competitors. And in this case, he will remember how he is treated by you this year. And so customer satisfaction is very important. And let's quote Steve Jobs. Be a yardstick of quality. Some people aren't used to an environment where excellence is expected. And that's especially true for the laundry industry. We're often so generous to ourselves. And so what is the fulfillment rate, for instance? And how do you stack the linen into the delivery containers? Whatever. So how friendly are you to your customers? There are so many ways to show quality and excellence, and you need to try to be perfect, to improve. And even if this is strange right now, to recommend, for instance, a customer survey, I think it's important. It's important that you improve your service even in this time. And if you come out of this challenging time right now as an even better service provider, then you will have a very good future after this issue is solved. And if you are pissing off your customers right now, then you might be in a very bad situation in next year, maybe this fall already. Yeah, so I think it's really, really important that you care about your customers and the quality. And this is also important for your employees, because your employees, they want to have a good feeling at the end of the day that they accomplished something, that they are proud of their work, that they are proud of what they have delivered to the customer, that they see that the customer is satisfied, that they do not hear much complaints. So if this is the case, then they are really able to also survive a stressful time. But if you have on the one hand the stress because there is too much labor, too much work to do, and too less workers, then of course, and you are not able to deliver quality, then this is really, really frustrating. So quality is important also for your employees. Next part is cleaning and preemptive maintenance. So maybe this is a laundry issue. But if you have too much labor, the first thing that many people do not do anymore is keep your plant clean and tidy. But this will backfire very, very soon. And as mentioned before, the situation will not change in the next few days. You will have to cope with the situation probably until this fall. And if you do not preemptive maintenance, if you do not clean your equipment, then in 2 weeks, 5 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever, you might have big problems with the uptime of your equipment. So you need to invest also there. I know it's counterintuitive to keep things tidy in this time, but I think it's important. It's really important. Yeah, and last but not least, management quality. If you are starting to be disorganized, if you're starting not to communicate, if you're starting to not treat your employees right, if you do not train your people, if you do not do the right things anymore, then you will make the situation worse. So I know it's a little bit counterintuitive, but you need also to focus on management quality right now, and to evaluate your own management quality and try to improve it, and to stick to discipline and to stick to your commitment. So yeah, sorry, maybe you can unsubscribe to the channel, but that's the truth. So if you like this, then you are welcome to subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. If you do not like this message, then maybe it was not the right video for you. I think it's really, really important that we try to improve ourselves. So basically, this is all these points are about the Q2. So most of these points are not urgent, so you do not need this for the delivery of tomorrow. It will not help you, but it will help you to survive, and it will help you to get out of this situation better than your competition. So if you master the current situation, the current challenges, just a little bit better than the competition, then of course you will come ahead out of this challenge. So I wish you all the best for that you get employees, that you make the right decisions, that you can improve your processes, and of course that you also do not forget yourself and also your loved ones, and so that you get even stronger in this time. And if you like this video, then subscribe to the channel, like it, and there is also a newsletter that I'm sending out now every week. in English. I'm starting it right now, and it's for operators, for executives in the industry, and so it is valuable information. I want to make a contribution, and you'll get it then right into your inbox. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.